if I can quote you from the book, it says, with the flywheel in this position as shown, the set screw in the end of the rocker arm should be turned in or out, as the case may be, as to just touch the end of the valve stem. And that adjustment right in there is what we got to deal with. That much right there. No need to get a feeler gauge. Feeler gauge is not required. But what I got is this is set up, that's set up, and that cinch nut back in there. We'll have to get that adjusted around. We're going to lock this into position, because it's where it needs to be. That goes up like that. That goes up. That goes right there. Oh, there's a lot of adjustment on this rod right here. You can adjust it a lot. This is one of the things that you really want to get right, because it does have an impact on how hot your engine runs. Valve timing and ignition controls the temperature of the engine to a large extent. But we got that tight back in there. That's good to go. We won't have to adjust that anymore. Now the adjustment now is that few thousandths right there. So what we're going to do is come back up here. That's the reason that we made this initial adjustment. Right here. And you want to adjust this one right here out. You say, well, you had it in the right position there. Why didn't you just make adjustment over yonder? And you could well did that. It's just that you actually can come up here and really see what you're doing. Okay. Now what I was doing is moving this backwards and forwards while I'm turning this set screw that's in this rocker arm. And what I'm doing is feeling I'll show you. See right there, I can move it a thousandth or so. Okay, if I just give that just a turn. Okay, see, I took it away just when it went away. Now I want to maintain that measurement, and then I want to lock it in there. Okay, that's all they are to setting an exhaust valve. It's set. There's nothing more to do. You know, I could talk about it all day long, but it would serve no purpose. Now that's set. Ignition timing, and actually this is only a half a turn. I'll show you something. If you come around on compression, okay, it's coming up. I felt it compression, so when it comes up right here, it will trip the mag. Okay, I didn't hear it. Okay, I heard it that time, and it tripped right there. I went a little past it, but it tripped right here. Set the running, start and run. Set that lever in the run position. That's the way you time it, in the run position. Okay, and you come around on compression, and you can feel the bump back when it comes on compression. The next movement, okay, did you see that it tripped that magneto right here, which is about 3 inches too soon. To adjust that, we have to, this lever with these springs has to go back that way. We have to bring this notch around to here. And even after you run the engine for a short time, a tank or two of gas in it, fuel, then you need to come back and readjust these. Most of the time things will wear in really quick on the get-go, and you can make that adjustment, and then that'll last a long time. But to go through this really quick, you come around. Okay, did you hear that magnetic trip? Okay, right here's my mark, and it should be right here. That's about 3 inches going by that mark on the inside on the engine case. So that's about 3 inches that we have to move the timing. With the lever set on run, you want to time it in the position that it will be running. When you change it up to start, then that moves this mark up here closer to dead center. And this is the ignition mark. I need to move it this way, so I need to move this back that way. It needs to trip sooner. So that nut's loose, hold that in the front, and then turn that backwards, maintaining the curvature. Move that backwards and go around again. See how much where we're at. Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty decent. And I turned that about 2 turns. And while I was turning, I was maintaining that slight upward movement, the arc. So that's pretty good right there where that's at. I'm gonna snug that up, trying to keep that. Try to keep it in a position where it's at, because I think we got it. It's pretty close. Tighten that up. Now let's go through again. It's on a run. Crank her around. Crank her around. Compression. And it tripped right there. Okay. Right. That's the mark back under, and that's the mark out here. So that's pretty darn good. Pretty good. And that's, I locked that nut in there. That's good to go. And this, the 2 springs is what regulates the tripping and the return. And so put that right there, and then observe the whole movement and make sure everything is true and in line. Probably something else I probably should show you. Now that we've got the magneto and all of it on there and timed, something I'll show you. Here to find out if your engine is timed inside in the correct mesh, is I done took that flywheel off. But you bring that around on where it lines up, and you got that mark right there and that mark right there, and you bring it around there where that it trips. When it trips, then you can put a straight edge on this mark and the back side of this oil trough on the EK, and you put that center to center, and you see how that lines up in a straight line yonder. Okay, at that point we know that everything on this engine, all the gears and everything, is meshed correctly. That's what them's for. Also, the older model that has the L mag on it actually has this same measurement. It has a notch in the base plate that comes out there. There's actually a little casting there, and also the end of the shaft up there has a hash mark on it. Well, and that's all that does. When you change that lever, it just retards and advances the spark. And also be on a caution, don't be trying to start it down here in the run position. Always start it up there in the start position, because it will kick back on that run position if everything is adjusted correctly. Now, what else? Oh, yes, that's pretty much all of this. You know, there ain't nothing else to do in there. You know, I could talk about this for another hour, but, you know, just ain't necessary. So, let's put this flywheel back on there for one last time. And I will spend the project for today is to get this thing off the workbench onto the cart. So I will spend some time here fitting this gib key. And it's just a matter of filing and layout die, file, layout die, until it goes in there to the correct depth. Another question that someone asked me about balancing flywheels. And they are balanced, but these flywheels on this particular engine here has two cutouts, one in here and one in here in the back side of the flywheel there. They were casted with a so that this would be less weight. There would be less weight right in this area here, and that corresponds with the crankshaft throw. Some crankshafts has this unbalanced weight onto the crankshaft itself. Has two big old castings. They had a crankshaft balance. These here had flywheel balance. So once they casted them, old time practices and materials, it just wasn't good as they are today. You know, I hate to say that, but you can look at these castings right here and the story that they tell. Like right in here, that's really porous. That's really porous right in there. It's a bad casting. You can look at it and tell that the metal was getting cold in this area. You can look down here. That's really nice right there. See, that was a hot place. And usually, but between this large centerpiece and somewhere about halfway on these spokes right here, there'll be a dry place. It looks like in them spokes. Usually it'll show up. Another thing that you'll find on these McCormick-Deering flywheels is these fat places in these spokes right here. See, right, and this was done in the mold. It's not a defect or anything. It's just it's what they did for the time period. I guess it's the best they had to work with. But you can see that's a real fat place right there, and you can tell it's just kind of where the way the mold was made. Right there's one right there, and then right here's one kind of on the back side, and you can see it. You probably can't see it, but right there's a great old big bulge. It's just too much metal right there. And on this one right here, right there's one. If you can see it, well, it's not on the back. It's just kind of offset out here. Basically, the part on this one, it was really dry right in there, and that corresponds with this place here. Okay, now over here, that's the good place on this one, and over, well, like right in here is the dry place on that one. But and then what they done is once they got them cast, the raw casting, they turned the outside, and then they had to balance them to whatever it needs to be. And on this one over here, you can see that right here's the less weight. Okay, they came all the way over here, and there's 3 holes drilled in yonder to take metal away. It was too heavy right here. And if you look on the back side, that looks really good right there, and then down here it's kind of, well, right there's the rough place. So it's heavier here. And they drilled these holes in here to remove metal. And one of them's really deep. That one's just very shallow, and that one's shallow. So a deep one and 2 shallow ones right there. Okay, now on this flywheel over here, now remember, way over there is them holes, and over here there's the cutout. On this one, they drilled the holes right here, and there's 2 really deep holes and then 1 shallow one. So it was a different amount of metal in different places that they had to remove to to make the balance come out even. You know, they wanted the heavy place to be opposite of this. Explained that, didn't I? And that's all there are to this. No need to. Oh yes, right here's something. I'll show this to you. Y'all see that right there? I filed that where it comes around there and closes. I filed that and put a little thing of paint right there so I'd know where that's at. Because there's another one here. See, when this needle valve was in another mixer, right here's where the closed place would have been. So I did highlight the one that I'm going to use right there. And most of the time you open these up about 3/4 of a turn, somewhere like that right there, you know. Well, I did drop a little cotter in that hole right there to detour a dirt dauber. And also, if you remember, I had that shaft that come out there was a little bit short, and you could see that brass in there and a little new metal. So I did put just a little bit of JB weld in there. It blends in, and you know, it looks like it's supposed to be there now, just for looks only. What else is to be said about this? Oh yes, the coating on here. Someone left a message, a comment that they thought that boiled linseed oil looked good on this engine. This is not the one that don't be confused. This only has 30 weight non-detergent motor oil on it, nothing else. You know, just junkyard rust with oil on it. Nothing else. No, nothing else. And you know, I didn't mean to cause no confusion there about what kind of finish was on this particular engine. But we got that cart built, and I've got an oiler on standby. So the next time you see it, it will be on a cart. And I'll tell you something else. These two carters right here are not spreaded apart. They're just sprung a little bit so they won't come out. Simply because I may need to make adjustment after the engine is started and running a little bit. But as soon as it runs and everything proves out to be correct, then I will spread those apart and set them right. But you know, clean up as you go, keep everything in an orderly manner, and when you see it again, it'll be on cart.